and science of teleconsultation in pediatrics. Good evening, Gautam, Abhishek.
Good evening, ma'am.
So we'll
Good
start.
evening, ma'am.
Good evening. We'll start the Mentimeter quiz at 7 o'clock, and
Okay.
as many we can do. I think we can do simultaneously both the Google Meet and the Mentimeter. Mentimeter normally we don't speak at that time, but if it is audible, it is all right. Okay. I hope everybody has logged in for the Menti also.
Yes, ma'am.
So we'll start with the quiz first, and after we do few questions, then I'll come back to the presentation.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, there are 28 people in Menti and there are 22 people in Google Meet.
Okay, so whosoever is
There
there,
are more people in Menti.
we'll start with the Menti.
Okay.
So you can write your names and semesters. So there are 7 elements to be considered before any telemedicine consultation, which is as per the Government of India guidelines. And so now most of you have joined the Menti quiz. So it will be briefly that I'll be covering some of the things, and we will discuss it during my presentation subsequently. So this baby's WhatsApp image had come to me, and the pics were sent, but there was no name which was available, so nobody had identified it. So what do you think is the diagnosis? Okay, so hello friends. Hello friends.
Yes, ma'am.
Can
Yes,
you
ma'am.
hear me? There is some problem. I think you're not able to do both. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the presentation then. Okay? Because you're not able to see the questions. I'll just start my presentation. So this topic, which is the art and science of teleconsultation, I specifically chose that because this is a contemporary topic and this is going to be the new normal subsequently. So I thought we must discuss the teleconsultation because it's going to be the in thing for the subsequent months. So what I'm going to talk is the gaps in legislation for telemedicine which were there, and currently the telemedicine practice guidelines which have been published by the Government of India soon after the lockdown was announced in the corona pandemic, and what, when and how to do, especially in the context of our facility. So till in 2018 there was a judgment from the Honorable High Court of Bombay, and it had charged a Dr. Kapil of medical negligence, and as per the directions of the High Court, it mentioned that there should be no consultation on phone, mobile or WhatsApp message. In fact, that was punishable under the Indian Penal Code section 304. So till now, till recently, there were no legislations or guidelines, and these gaps in legislation and uncertainty of rules pose a risk for both the doctors and their patients. So there are a number of existing acts under which the medical practitioners are working. So we will be talking mainly related to the telemedicine, and this recent pandemic actually created a unique opportunity for enhanced use of telemedicine, offering solutions to protect patients, families and healthcare workers from the COVID exposures. So these practice guidelines were released in March 2020 in partnership with the Niti Aayog. So you all are aware of this personality. Who is he? Who is he? Can anybody identify him? Can someone identify him?
Vinod K. Paul.
So Dr. Vinod Paul, we know that in Niti Aayog, the pediatrician is there, and he was the ex-HOD of the Department of Pediatrics at All India Institute of Medical Sciences. So telemedicine applications are of 4 types according to the mode of communication. It could be video, it could be audio, it could be the timing of information transmitted, it could be a real time, or it could be a subsequently. The purpose of the consultation, and there could be interactions between the various individuals involved. So the real time would be like we are doing a video call, and asynchronous means something which has been sent by an email or a message, and it can be accessed as per convenience later on. So whenever we have a consultation for emergency, it will be always an inpatient consultation. The teleconsultations are mainly, it is for the non-emergency consultations. It can be a first consult, or it could be a follow-up consultations. So even in our OPD, many of them, they come for follow-up consultations. What does not constitute a follow-up visit? If there are no new symptoms, if there are basically new symptoms that are not in the spectrum of the same health condition, then it will not constitute a follow-up visit. The doctor does not recall the context of previous treatment and advice, then also it will not constitute a follow-up visit. So according to the individuals involved, usually in pediatrics, we have caregiver to the doctor interactions, and sometimes we can have health workers to the doctors. For example, most of the consultations which I am receiving from the child care institutions, like you all have been going, many of you have been going to Ashiana, Snehalya, there the nurse on duty will be doing a consultation on the behalf of the child, and they usually do consultations related to new admissions or children to be restored. If the children are to be restored, what I do is a real-time video conferencing and then give medical consultations. Usually according to the telemedicine guidelines, age 16, that means any child more than 16 years can take a consultation directly. So it is considered as a minor if it is aged 16 or less, or in cases of adults if they are incapacitated. And then the caregiver has to have a formal authorization establishing his relationship with the patient. So 7 elements are considered before any telemedicine consultation. It could be the context, it could be identification of the doctor and the patient. If both of them, they do not know each other, that is why when we are doing teleconsultation, it is important for us to identify ourselves. The mode of communication, consent, the types of consultation, and subsequently the evaluation and the management. So these are the 7 elements to be considered before any telemedicine. So this question which I asked in that, so in this case, somebody had sent me these pictures but had not identified. Once they had not identified, I had not responded. Only after 2 days, when they again called me up, at that time asked, and that is the time I asked what is the age of the child, what is the problem with this child. So this was a 25-day-old baby who had this rash and was presented, his pictures were sent. So these were the pictures of his nephew, and when I asked, let me see the fresh pictures after 2 days. So when they talked to the parents said it had totally disappeared. So some of you have written measles, somebody has written erythema toxicum. So basically erythema toxicum, this age of the baby is 25 days when this baby had a rash. So this was a case of miliaria rubra. So whenever we have any patient where we have to do a teleconsultation, there are 3 things which we have to do. One is the health education, as it may be.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Some of the residents are waiting to be let in.
To be okay. So I was telling about the patient management after the teleconsultation. So it could be related to the health education, it could be counseling, or it could be prescription of the medicines. So now this patient, this baby had turned 6 months, and the mother had asked how to start complementary feeding. So in this baby, what I did was I tried to tell them and sent a evidence-based module which is there in the Poshan Abhiyan. This module has everything related to complementary feeding. So what I did was, this was an educated mother. I shared the module and asked her to read all the information, and after that I said I will talk to you. So as soon as she read it, she had this query: can she give cow's milk once or twice a day? So this was an adopted baby. So this was the query. Some of the American guidelines say to delay cow's milk as much as after 1 year. But in this particular case, because it was an adopted baby, and in India many of us actually use cow's milk maybe for preparation, the prevalence of cow milk allergy, some of the studies have said 1 to 2%, but it is not high. We still use cow milk beyond the age of 6 months. So I had advised her that she can continue. So in this case, the teleconsultation was just related to the health education. She wanted to know about the complementary feeding. So then, regarding one of the other teleconsultation which was related to counseling. In this case, one of our residents pursuing his DM at Jipmer Pondicherry. He recently had a baby boy, and the elder sib was around 2.5 years. And when the younger baby was breastfeeding, this baby used to throw tantrums. The mother was concerned that if she starts feeding this baby, she is going to have less of milk and the other baby is going to become hungry. And moreover, she was getting lots of behavioral problems. She was throwing tantrums, she was being difficult, and lot of sibling rivalry. And at time mother would be concerned, she may actually hit the baby, and father could not be with the family because of the lockdown. So in this case, what was required as a teleconsultation was a counseling. So she sent me this picture, and this was a drawing. From this I could make out that for a 2.5 years, this is too neat a picture. So I felt that the mother is being little bit more, is doing a lot of limit setting to the baby, and she's not allowing her to explore. So once that was there, I explained to the mother how to deal with the both babies, how to allow this baby to be more exploring the environment and to do lots of messy play. So I sent her one article which was talking about when you have two babies nursing at the same time, that means the sib and the younger baby, it's also known as tandem nursing. And when, just like we have for twins, even for tandem nursing, the studies have shown that the mother will have adequate milk. But in this case, the mother was concerned that in case she may start asking for it daily, and it would be difficult. And she said she will keep it as last resort. Today she played with colors, messed up, and I didn't object. That means the mother was little permissive, allowed her to explore. Then her nana did paper craft boat and put in water, so she enjoyed. So we'll try more quads. And that's how she said, "Thank you, ma'am. I feel so much better after talking to you. Good night." So this is a typical case of counseling while using a teleconsultation. Most of the times, what we do in PGI, in APC, is prescribing medicines. So this was another case which was a teleconsultation in our outpatient. So before I came, one of the residents had already written some of the things, and the mother had complained of 2 episodes of vomiting. And for that, immediately our reaction was to start a Amisit. This baby was around 3 to 4 months of age. And what I said is, Amisit, before starting any medication, it is without making an appropriate diagnosis or a provisional diagnosis, it actually amounts to professional misconduct. When I talked to her, so in detail, what she said was that she had a fresh stillbirth in the past. This baby also, there was a doubt of a murmur. She was just anxious. She had just a minor vomit. Otherwise the baby was fine. I talked to her, explained her, assured her. So after that we followed her, this lady, this baby mother did not have any problem. So MSIT as per the guidelines under the age of 6 months is not recommended. So whenever we are prescribing medication, you must make a provisional diagnosis and explore everything. Sometimes it's very difficult to explore while doing a teleconsultation, but it is with experience that you can make out that Mrs. Mother must be anxious. The intuitiveness of the experienced person works better when we are doing a teleconsultations. So this was another child who had come with a skin problem and had taken all possible drugs, whether it was antibiotics, whether it was anti-allergics, whether it was antifungals, calamine, anti-scabies, steroids, everything had been given to this baby. So just see the rash, and there was frank discharge, pus discharge from the ear. So can you see this baby? What do you think it is? What do you think the problem is?
Atopic dermatitis.
So these were some of the lesions were little bullous also. They were the infected lesions.
Herpes, ma'am?
These are actually herpes तो नहीं है. It's not all herpes. What else?
Impetigo contagiosa.
Impetigo it can be. It can be something like impetigo. Let us in करना है. एक मिनट, let me see. Suchit is asking me if I can let him in. So actually sometimes skin is one of the most important reason for teleconsultations. Many of the teleconsultations which I have been doing during this time, many of them they had skin problems, and whenever even I am in doubt, I would take help of at least a skin specialist, and Dr. Sunil would help me. So he felt it is bullous dermatosis. It was clearly infective with the pus discharge, and this mother, when I called up, so she was so upset, and she said the baby is not feeding. The moment they say that the baby is not feeding, what you will do next? What will be the next step? Abhishek, Somalia, what is the next step if I say that these are the skin lesions and the baby is not feeding?
Then we would like to call him to PGI or some
we like to
local
call him PGI. So
doctor.
if the so this baby was from here only. First I thought, since it's a primary care visit, if they can go to sector 16. So I thought they were from Chandigarh. So if she can go to sector 16. So the baby went to sector 16, and there, so they felt the baby was not well. So they said, okay, you go to PGI. So when I sent here in PGI, so the moment this baby was sent to PGI, so there the baby started playing with the doctor and started wishing the doctor, and although the same skin lesions were there, and the mother, just half an hour before that, she was so apprehensive, and after some resident had seen in our emergency, the mother was so relieved. And what we prescribed was, just for the infected lesion, we prescribed Fusival ointment, that is the mupirocin ointment, and we gave her antibiotics, and we gave her zinc supplementation. So that's all which we had given, and after that this baby on follow-up has almost recovered. So in telemedicine document which is made by the Government of India, it says how to prescribe medicines through telemedicine. It lists certain types of lists of drugs. One is the list O. List O is over the counter drugs. So that means if you've had any mode of teleconsultation, whether it is audio, video, so you can prescribe all these drugs. Over the counter drugs like PCM and ORS can be prescribed for any type of teleconsultation. Then there are the list A drugs. In list A drugs, these are relatively safe drugs with a low abuse potential. So the first consultation in this case has to be a video consultation, or it can be a follow-up where it can be a refill. So there is a follow-up consultation. It just means only the drugs which are requiring refill. So these are the list A drugs. Then we have the list B drugs. In list B drugs, we have the add-on medication. Here on follow-up, this is only on drugs which have to be given where in past has been in-person consultation. For example, your nephrotic cases, they have had in-person consultation in the past, and if you feel that you have to step up or you have to add medication, or these could be patients who have epilepsy in the past, they already have had an in-person consultation, you have to add certain drugs. Patients with asthma, where you have to add on medications. So these are the drugs which are to be given as add-on medication. So list O drugs, which are the PCM, ORS, antacids, any mode of teleconsultation you can prescribe. Similarly, drugs which are for any public health emergency, for example, if there is an outbreak of some problems, maybe in the form of malaria, so here chloroquine can be used as a list O drug. List A is relatively safe, low potential for abuse. The first consultation is usually video, or follow-up consultation is a refill consultation. So antifungal ointments, so these are the list A drugs. List B drugs, again as I said, are the add-on medication. These are only on follow-up after the previous in-person consultations. Children treated for asthma, epilepsy, diabetes also may require add-on medications. So many of the consultations which we do in PGI could be add-on medications which come under the list B drugs. So this is the matrix which is given for any teleconsultation: OAB, the mode of consultation, the nature of consultation, and the list of medicines. So the Schedule X drugs which are prohibited under the teleconsultations. So the teleconsultations in APC or in PGI had started on May 19, and this also was started in many of the private hospitals. How is it being done for pediatrics? So we have a teleconsultation services which are mentioned in the website of PGI, and for pediatrics the number is 275-5994. So this is the dedicated landline number for teleconsultation. Although some of the newspapers had mentioned even an email for teleconsultation, but when I asked our CRD people, they said they are doing it only through this dedicated number. So it is there for other departments as well, and there are dedicated even the mobile numbers for some of the consultations in the various departments. So the registrations are done in our CRD between 8 to 9:30 in the morning, all days except Sunday. On an average 50 teleconsultations are done per day. Out of those 50, 10 to 15 consultations may be new consultations, and we currently have 4 smartphones which have a WhatsApp facility which are given to the senior resident or the consultants who are doing these teleconsultations. So whenever I receive, I've been doing OPDs on Mondays and Thursdays. Whenever I am receiving the cards in OPD, so this is how I do. So I put them sequentially and according to the CR numbers. In the CR numbers, the first 4 numbers mention the year when the card was made. So in this sequence you can see 2011, 2017, 18, 19, and then 20. So the recent one from the serial number I can make out this is probably the first visit, and previous one are the follow-up visits. So when I have like this, I know that most of these are follow-up visits, and in this case what I will do is that I will do a quick triage, quick phone to everybody and find out why they have called, and I'm able to identify which specialty. Many of them, they belong to various specialties in pediatrics or pediatric surgery. So if I come to know about the specialty, I immediately ask them the concerned specialty or ask them to WhatsApp their cards so that I can send them to the concerned specialist. Some of the are registered patients of specialty clinics. How we identify them is, usually I am doing the morning OPD, but on Mondays and Thursdays they have even the neurology, the neurodevelopment clinic patients. So there the cards are yellow in color. So whenever you have a card, so from the card what I do is I check the name, from the father's name, I can make out from both the name of the child and the father's name what could be the religion, the address, if it is a local address or if it is from the various other states. So I can briefly get a background information, and then I would actually introduce myself and say that I am calling from PGI, and then that you had registered today. Whenever I said teleconsultation, many of them they don't understand. I only say then you actually phoned up today morning for your baby. So that is how they understand. When I say आपने teleconsultation के लिए register कराया, so many of them they don't understand. So then I would actually call them and do it. Sometimes there are technical difficulties, like now also I was not able to do a Mentimeter quest. Maybe after this I'll try again and then we can do it again. So there are technical difficulties related to the devices, interfaces, there may be internet connectivity problems. Many of the parents who register from Jammu and Kashmir, they have difficulty in sending WhatsApp messages because there they have a 2G connection. So there I know that they may not be able to connect, and most of the times I usually give a trial of 3 times before I quit, and over a period of 30 minutes, and I actually document that I have tried 3 times before I am able to give any teleconsultation. So whenever you are trying to do a teleconsultation, it is actually an art which you need to develop over a period of time. So I am sure that I'll be doing many more cases tomorrow, which I have been seeing over the last 2-3 months, so that you get idea of how to do these teleconsultations. So these are random acts of kindness, and you know that any small act of kindness, no matter how small, is never wasted. So even the children, where we've been providing all these teleconsultations on 1st of July when you had Doctor's Day, they made sure that the cards were given. And similarly, there was a patient almost a decade back who was a diphtheria survivor. He also made sure and asked whether you are safe during this period. So whether we are, many a times what the press shows that there are people are angry with doctors, but my experience is that people reciprocate and they are concerned about the safety of the doctors also. So thank you. Yeah. So let's try again and see how many of you can join the quiz. The code is the same. Telemedicine consultation should be anonymous. Yes, no, or can't say. So as I said, this was an anonymous message. Initially I had not responded, but subsequently when the person identified, that's the time the diagnosis of Millera rubra was made in this baby. So now I think everybody is aware about the diagnosis. If the patient initiates the telemedicine consultation, then the consent is informed, implied, or explicit. Yes, it is implied. So as I said, implied consent is an in-person consultation. It is assumed that the patient has consented to the consult by his or her actions. As earlier we had, when the patient walks in an OPD, the consent for consultation is taken as implied. So like an in-person consultation, for most of the teleconsultations, the consent can be assumed to be implied because the patient has initiated the consultation. If the health worker, RMP, or a caregiver initiates a telemedicine consultation, which consent is necessary? Implied, explicit, or voluntary? So it is an explicit. Explicit consent can be recorded in which form? Audio-visual message, email or text message, on phone directly, all of the above. So it is all of the above. An explicit consent can be recorded in any form. Patient can send an email, text, audio, video, and patient can state his or her intent on phone or video to the RMP. So this can be recorded in patient's records. Can artificial intelligence be allowed to counsel patients or prescribe medicine through tele platforms? No, you're right. So artificial intelligence or machine learning technology-based platforms are not allowed to counsel the patients or prescribe any medicines to a patient. Only an RMP is entitled to counsel or prescribe and has to directly communicate with the patient in this regard. So as I had shown how to prescribe medications, these are the guidelines by the Government of India. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare had brought out this module, and I have discussed it during the presentation. Which of the following drugs are included in the list O drugs for teleprescription? Over the counter, refill, add-on, or addictive? Yes, O is over the counter drugs. So common over the counter drugs are paracetamol, cough supplements, lozenges, common cold medications, ORS, syrup, zinc, and supplements. Which of the following drugs are included in list A drugs for teleprescription? Over the counter, refill, add-on, or addictive? So the refill drugs. First consult medications diagnosis is done on a video mode of consultation, like ointments, lotions for skin ailments, local ophthalmological drugs, ear drops. These are the list A drugs. Which of the following drugs are included in list B drugs for teleprescription? Over the counter, refill, add-on, addictive? So on follow-up medications prescribed as add-on, for example, adding montelukast with long-acting bronchodilators, adding levetiracetam with clobazam. So these are add-on drugs. So drugs prescribed for some public health emergency fall in which list? A, B, O or M? So these are the list O drugs. These are the list, they are included under the O category because this is during the public health emergency. So the medications noted by the Government of India in case from time to time on an emergency basis. For example, chloroquine for malaria control in an endemic region when notified by the government can be a list of the list O drugs. Misusing patient images and data is liable for penalties under the professional misconduct. True, false or not sure? Very good. True. Can a private pediatrician charge an appropriate fee for telemedicine consultation? Yes, no or not sure? Yes, very good. So Chaitanya is the topper for this, followed by Vatika and then the Nelson. So your comments and suggestions. Tomorrow I plan to do more of case scenarios. So I think we can end here and thank you everybody. Thank you everybody. Thanks a lot.